provided. They did divide them up appropriately for the jobs which you're taking on. And in this case, we have no incumbents. We have two people running for this, that was term limited. So you both will have the same rules, 2 minutes opening, 1 minute for the questions. You can use the red card twice and 2 minutes at the end. So, okay, we can start. So.
Hello everyone, my name is Sal Formica. I want to first start by thanking everyone for attending. I know a lot of these things are usually poorly attended, and we all know that elections have consequences, so it's nice to see half the room full. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this event. I look forward to shedding some light on who I am and what my beliefs are by the end of this. With that being said, I'm a Brooklyn kid that moved out to Comac 36 years ago. I immediately got involved in my community. I've been serving in the community in different capacities for the last 36 years. Comac South Little League, 15 years, ex-president. Comac Fire Department, still a member there, 32 years. Ex-chief, Smithtown. I was part of the entire township for all decision-making when it came to emergency preparedness and management in the town. Along the way, I had a career. I started out as a banker, 10 years, Chase Manhattan Bank, but that wasn't what really got me going. I decided to become a police officer. I spent 20 years in the police department. I was assigned to the Elite Emergency Services Unit. If no one knows what that is, basically, when the community needs help, they call the police. When the police need help, they call the Emergency Services Unit. So that's what I did for 20 years. I retired as second grade detective out of Truck 8 in Brooklyn. Along the way, I also was very involved in the school district, not only as a security guard for them for 10 years, but I was one of the original members for the Coalition of Caring. And we all know what that's about, right? Our children, which is our future. So that's pretty much who I am. I'm a guy that's always giving back to the community. On the politics side, what drives me, what gets me to where I am, is doing the right thing for people. Taxpayers, their families, our children. That's what I'm looking to do. That's what I've done my whole life, and that's hopefully come November 4th, that's where I'll be. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pascucci?
My name is Shala Pascucci, and I'm from Kings Park. I have 2 kids. My daughter is a senior in Kings Park High School. My son is in his 3rd year in college. My husband is here with me. She's sick, not feeling well. He's in college. My husband is here with me. He is Suffolk County Detective Sergeant. As for me, I have a master's degree in social work, where I've spent the bulk of my time as a team leader for one agency, a program director for another agency. I switched gears and I became a high school English teacher. And after that, I packed that in when I found out I was pregnant, and now I own a small business. Along the way, I am on Kings Park School Board, where I was just elected to a 2nd term. But for me, the reason why I'm running, and I've said this before and I'll keep saying it again, for me, this isn't about red versus blue. These are community issues. These are town issues. It's not about red versus blue. It's not about me versus you. This, to me, is about all of us working together versus a problem, trying to find solutions to problems, like all of us working together to find solutions to threats to our clean water, all of us working together to find solutions to infrastructure problems, development problems. And at the end of the day, we're all people who really just want the same thing. And if there's anything that I've learned in all the leadership positions that I'm in, is that people really like when you listen to them, when you treat them with respect, and when you get things done on their behalf. And that's why I'm running, and that's really why I want to be a county legislator.
Okay, thank you. So we'll start with the questions, and this is going to go quick back and forth. So, Ms. Pascucci, you keep the mic. You go first this time. You're going to see some repetition in the questions, but again, the students are aware. They unfortunately had to leave because they have school tomorrow. And but it is being recorded again. But I do think they as well as all of us want to hear your answers on similar questions. So the first one here is, how can the county address homelessness and affordable and/or workforce housing?
Starting with the easy one. Okay. So this is the big question. You know, how do we get young people to stay? How do we stop the Yankee exodus to South Carolina and North Carolina, right? So I think we can do a few things. In terms of making housing affordable, what I would like to try and do is explore creative solutions. I would like to see something done and create something called a House Our Own Fund. Create a fund to help families, new families, first responders, senior citizens, etc. We could do this by taking, if you're going to have the IDA and give tax breaks to developers, take some of that money and put it in a House Our Own Fund. That's one possibility. Another possibility is the federal feds give us block grants, community development block grants. If we take some of what's supposed to be allocated at a county level, take some of that money and put it into the House Our Own Fund. A third way that we can do it is by there's a third way that we can do it, which I'll follow up on in a second after.
Okay.
After this time.
Thank you. Mr. Becker? Yeah.
Okay, so obviously this is the burning question for Long Island, and there is no answer, okay? Long Island, everyone who's lived here, I came into this community 36 years ago. When I came into the community, I paid $165,000 for a home that's worth probably $900,000 today. So what do? Well, there's a few things we can do. For affordable housing, we can partner with municipalities and developers to increase supply, something that we've already started to see across Long Island. We also have down payment assistance programs that have started to get launched on the county level. That's something that we have to invest more time and effort and money into. We also have something that's initiatives for first responders. As a first responder myself, I know all too well, as a guy who's trained probably 200 firemen in my township, what happens to them when they are 25 years old and they look to start a family, get married, and move on. It just simply doesn't happen unless you do something for them. So I would propose affordable units for those earning 80% or less of the area median. That's how I would address it.
Okay, thank you. Keep the mic. Okay, Lake Ronkonkoma is prone to environmental dangers like pollutants and disease-carrying insects. How do you plan to control the area? And again, for everyone, this is assuming you are looking at a county level for everything, of course. How do you plan to control the area to prevent environmental problems?
So when you talk about, it's not just Lake Ronkonkoma, it's the whole island. And I believe what happens is you have to start with educating folks on what they do and the repercussions of what they do, right? So I know earlier on the town level, they spoke a little bit about what we're putting on, chemicals that we're putting on our ground that eventually winds up in our drinking water. I don't think the people know quite the impact of what that is. So is there a short answer? Do we turn everything into turf fields so we don't have to water and things like that? That's not realistic either. So it's an education of the community to try and at least streamline the amount of things that are going to seep into our waters, our grounds, that are eventually going to contaminate the areas where we have to now dig them all up, remove everything, which takes hundreds of millions of dollars in order to be able to reuse those spaces.
Thank you. Ms. Pascucci?
I think that educating the community is part of it, but I also think to know what are we talking about? Are you talking about the pesticides? Are you talking about the soil? How much? What's going on? So I think what you really need to do first, before you come up with a solution, you have to know what the problem is. And we have to have some kind of commission or some kind of environmental study done first to explore the problem. What is the pollution? How dangerous is it? What can we do as a community? How much is it going to cost? How do we treat this at the county level? So that's what I would say we need to start. First figure out what the problem is, and then figure out what the solution is.
Okay, and you hold on to that? To follow up on that, how would you envision working with legislators from all different parts of Suffolk in pursuit of many of these goals that we'll be talking about?
I do it now. Since I've been a candidate, I've had people ask me questions. For example, I had two gentlemen ask me about dredging the Nisqually. I don't really know anything about what dredging the Nisqually is, but that's okay, because what I did is I invited them, one, to the forum that we all had. I said, why don't you come to the forum, because we're going to have experts there that I can put you in touch with about dredging the Nisqually. And two was Legislator Engelbright is an expert environmental. And where we're at now is I asked him, I said, email me your proposal, email me your information, and I'm going to get in touch with Legislator Engelbright because he's the expert in that. And I've done that a couple of times with different legislators and asking them different questions to help out constituents who have already asked me for help on various problems. And that is something that I've been doing on the school board for the past 4 years. That's actually one of my strong suits, is working with people, looking for things at different perspectives. I don't want anybody to just listen to me and be my own echo chamber. I want to hear different perspectives. I want to get expert opinions from somebody who might be an expert in something that I'm not an expert in. But so I've been doing it already.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this is something obviously that's very important. Nothing gets accomplished unless we're working together. Luckily for me, 36 years in the fire service, I've been front and center with this legislature, whether it was Democrat, Republican, didn't matter, fighting for the fire service. So I know how important it is. With that being said, I've been working alongside a lot of the legislators already for the last couple of years. Probably 80%, maybe 90% of the legislature has endorsed me, along with the presiding officer of the legislature and the county executive. So I already have a working relationship established with them, and I'll look to build off the great things that they've already started to put in place, like the 1/8% that we're seeing on the taxes, to hopefully get us out of this cesspool nightmare that we're in and getting these sewers on track. I mean, I'm a big proponent of that, and I'd like to see that expanded so we can get away from what's poisoning our waters and our grounds.
Okay, let's keep going on that. And this is the same question to both of you. So you get elected. What committee do you want to be on and why?
Well, I'd like to be on Ways and Means. Veterans is very close to my heart. I don't think we do enough for our veterans. Obviously, fire service and police, I have a strong background in both. So those would probably be the three that would interest me the most, where I think I could do the most work. Fiscal responsibility, making sure that we're spending our tax dollars wisely and we're letting them stretch as far as we can without exceeding tax dollars and putting strain on our taxpayers.
Okay, thank you.
So the committee that has to deal with infrastructure and development, since that's something that I feel is an issue that I keep hearing over and over again from our constituents, that it's a concern of theirs. So that's something that I'd like to address because I hear it from the community. So that's a big one for me.
Okay, hang on to it. The mic. Again, these questions seem repetitive, but it's a different jurisdiction, different ability to accomplish things. The kids keep writing about the e-bikes. And to clarify, they said more teens are starting to ride them as a type of transportation, whether it's to school, around town, etc. Multiple accidents have happened in Suffolk County within the last 5 years. When are regulations going to start being enforced to create a safe environment for e-bike riders in Suffolk now?
You're asking
Well,
when?
they said when, so why don't you address how?
So I don't know when, but what I would say we could do a couple of things. One, I think you should do a traffic study and find out the pedestrian safety and find out where the accidents are happening, why the accidents are happening, number one. Number two, maybe we should treat e-bikes the same way that we've treated mopeds and have to be licensed over 16 years old or something to that effect, that you can't drive an e-bike without a permit unless you're over a certain age. So things like that I think we can address to keep it safe, but to also monitor where they're used and how they're used and who uses them.
I think it's quite simple, to be honest with you. As a former police officer and also being in the fire department, I've seen plenty of accidents in my day. And my theory is that if it has a motor, it's electric, it's powered by anything other than your feet making the wheels go round and round, you should adhere to the traffic violations, the traffic signs, stop signs, red lights, crosswalks, whatever it is. You know, earlier I heard someone say, I don't remember which candidate said it, but they said that, you know, they go from, okay, I'm an e-bike on the street, then I'm on the sidewalk as a regular bicycle. The bottom line is, they are not bicycles. E-bikes have a motor in them, whether they're electric or whatever it is, they should adhere to what everybody else who drives a motor vehicle, motorcycle, moped, whatever it is on the road. It also starts with the parents. The parents, you know, are very quick to buy their kids an e-bike. Do you understand the consequences of what an e-bike that goes 30, 40 miles an hour can do to your child? You know, do they have the proper helmet? Have they taken classes?
Okay, thank you. Over the last several years, we all know of a number of cases involving Suffolk County Child Protective Services and some terrible things that have happened to children. Is that an area that you think more should be done on county level, and can you speak to that?
Yes, so the two prevalent ones that you're talking about would be Thomas Valva would be the first one, and then the young lady, obviously, that was a victim of prostitution, drug use, things of that nature. Two different cases. One, I would say that the county was probably liable for that one, and there were repercussions from that. People lost their jobs. They put together a committee of people and new leadership to find out why you would see complaints that are going in not being followed up upon, and ultimately leading to tragedies, and specifically in those two cases that are most recent ones. And they were awarded big money in lawsuits because there was neglect. So sometimes I think as leaders, we have to understand the consequences of the people that we appoint into positions and put in leadership.
Yeah, of course we should pay attention to it, and it has to do with oversight and accountability. We have to oversee and find out where the areas where we're falling short. We have to hold people accountable in their positions to do their jobs properly. And we can only do that if we have oversight, if we monitor the office. And that's what I would do as a county legislator. I would figure out a way or commission some sort of oversight so that we make sure that the people there are doing their jobs and performing as they should, and that there's no abuses, and that there's no neglect, and that there's nobody taking advantage of falling short of doing their jobs at that office.
Okay. All right, this is a wild card kind of question. Say the county controller reports that they have surprisingly found about $50 million that hasn't been allocated. What would you do with it? I'm not looking at the audience.
John, did you find $50 million?
Not
No,
this
right?
week.
Tiny's a piano.
I didn't think so.
Hypothetically, on another planet, the controller of Suffolk County reported that. How would you prioritize spending that kind of money? Who's next?
I'm first?
Yes.
I was hoping I'd go second because I'm really, there's so many things you can do with it. $50 million could go towards the House Our Own Fund to help young people stay in Suffolk County. I would love to see that. So that would be one area that we could put it towards. Something for our youth, they just left, but we could spend money more on, what were they asking for? Mental health services. I believe we have DASH in Suffolk County, and we can help expand the services of DASH, which is also mental health and things of that nature. So maybe we could use it towards, those are just two things off the top of my head right now I can think of, but I would think that those are pretty good areas to spend the money.
Okay.
So, as we all know, $50 million doesn't go as far as it did years ago. There's a few short answers here, right? Obviously, we have a housing crisis, but I can assure you that $50 million is not going to create any kind of a gap for us to not have a housing crisis with $50 million. We also have issues with our roadways, as you see, right? We try to address as many roadways on the county level as possible, but as you see people on social media. They're like, oh, this road is a disaster. Something that really was mind-blowing to me, I found out that to put in 1 mile of sewers is about $10 million. So that means that we'd be able to put 5 miles of sewers, whether we pick a residential neighborhood, and that's to help out drinking water and our soil, right? So $50 million is really not going to impact anything. I would probably utilize the services more towards the veterans and the youth. Mental health is a big problem in Suffolk County, and I would probably lean towards one of those three.
Okay, thank you. All right, okay. Another, proposed federal funding cuts will possibly affect all different levels of government who serve constituents. Can you anticipate how Suffolk County might need to be more prudent in putting money aside in anticipation of some possible cuts? Very open-ended question.
So, as we know or don't know, there's the proposed budget for 2026 for Suffolk County. It's $4.3 billion. That's an increase of 5.2%. They say it translates to about $86 a household. I didn't do the math. This is what they're reporting. What their intention is with that money is to invest in public safety, social services, and environmental initiatives. What you're also seeing in conjunction with that was the 1/8% that you see on your taxes going towards sewers. I would say that we know enough people that go around Suffolk County. We happen to be very lucky in Suffolk County, right? Also Nassau County. There seems to be a lot of disposable income for the majority of the people, not all people. So I think what we would need to do is target areas like that and see how we could take those areas and the monies that they're paying and maybe shave a little off from there and put it into a slush fund like you're saying. But unfortunately, it's not easy to do because every time you turn around, there's something else that needs to be done in every township.
Thank you.
Can you just repeat the question? I think I get it, but can you just repeat it?
No, I wouldn't
You
get
can't. So I think if we're not going to get the funds that we're supposed to get from the feds, then that means that we have to be more prudent in the way that we spend money and be more efficient in the way the county spends money. And I think we can do that in a few different ways. One, we have to look at the line item in the budget and cut waste where we can. One of those ideas might be if we have contracts that are no bid contracts, maybe we have contracts that are bid contracts, so we make things more affordable for the county. Another way we can do it is if we have third-party consultants, maybe we see if we can keep things in-house. Another thing we can do is to streamline operations. Do we have anything that are duplicates? Do we have anything that we double up on? How can we make things more efficient? Another thing that I think we can do is if the developments are happening that it's not against development, but overdevelopment where we're straining infrastructure and services and then we have to pay for those services. Maybe we don't have overdevelopment, so we don't have to strain our infrastructure and our services and pay for them if we're looking to cut back because we're not getting the funds we should.
Okay. One minute.
So just to add to, obviously, the issues that we have financially and putting away, like we used to do back in the day, our Christmas fund, right? We'd go in to put those $5 coupons in the bank. The biggest problem is the unfunded mandates that come down from Albany, right? So when you have unfunded mandates, and just on a town level, I can tell you because I'm heavily involved in understanding the town because to a certain degree I'm going to be representing the town also in its constituents, which is 116,000 people. But this year I believe, and I'm sure the supervisor can speak to it better when he speaks later, but I believe that they have about $10 million in unfunded mandates that came down from Governor Hochul. It's impossible to make that up without raising taxes, and it's impossible to do that without cutting services. And that goes not only on a town level, but on a county level. So Suffolk County takes Smithtown, maybe they have to cut 40 employees to achieve what they need to do. If you did that in Suffolk County, you'd have to probably cut 300, 400, 500, 600 people. And when you do that, if you think that your services are lacking now, wait till you see what happens with that.
Okay, back to you to start the next question, Ms. Pascucci. In terms of environmental issues, what do you foresee prioritizing and potentially working with other legislators on the county level?
There's so many things we can do, and I think Mr. Catalanato and Mr. Phillips referred to it before. We can start by reducing waste in the environment by doing things like recycling, doing things like composting is a big idea. I've seen it done elsewhere where you have a composting station or you reduce waste in that area. We can find out ways that our water is getting polluted. That's another thing with our environment. The PFAS are seeping into our water. Is it the foam that we're using in our services? Is it the pipes that we're using? We have to examine it and figure out where we can eliminate and reduce things like that. Another thing that we can do is educate the public on recycling. We can the plastic bag law in New York State, we can enforce that. What else can we do? There's so many different things that we can do. The sewers is another one that impacts the nitrogen, the septic tanks, and things like that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I said it earlier, it starts first and foremost with educating the public on what you're doing on your own individual property. There's no such thing as an overwatch that can watch everyone's property and what they're doing, what they're putting chemical-wise on their lawns, or what they're flushing down their toilets, maybe because they're trying to get an extra month or two out of their cesspools, because as we know, I'm in Comac, and my cesspool probably halfway down is clay. And last time I checked, water is not penetrating clay. So that's why you see a lot of people having issues with their cesspools, and they have to pump twice a year. I think maybe something we can look at, and something I would love to speak to the other legislators on to see what their beliefs were. I think that most homeowners, if they could do away with pumping their cesspools twice a year, which would cost them somewhere around $1,500, would probably want to pay a one-time tax to maybe help fund the sewers into these residential neighborhoods. Once you get rid of the cesspools, which by the way, we are the largest guilty parties of cesspools, then you'll see a big difference in the environment.
Okay, thank you. One final question before the close, which is, let's see which one. Yep. Too often, communication from elected officials is limited to celebrating successes. Suffolk residents are often unaware of important county issues that would affect him. How would you better communicate and educate them? Would you commit to holding regular public forums, county now?
So I've said all along my campaign trail, I said that I'm more than happy to do once a month any kind of a town hall, or whether it's some kind of a Zoom that people call into where they can ask questions. That's certainly one way to tackle it. But the bottom line here is that when we talk about communicating, and we talk to what I'm looking at in this room right now, a lot of it, we're old school, okay? For us, it's, you speak to your neighbor, you read a newspaper. That's not where we are as a society. So a lot of things that you see that the town does is done on websites, right? And these children, I forget which candidate said earlier, the 5-year-old knows how to navigate better than he does, and I agree with that. I lean on my children when it comes to social media or anything else that I do, because that's where the world is headed. So maybe, I know some people complained earlier that, there's meetings that go on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, whether it's a town or county, but they do have call-ins. When I can't get to a meeting, I turn into their Zoom. They put links up, but you have to know how to do that. So it's educating the old dogs like myself.
So this isn't something that I just talked about. This isn't something that I just have some ideas. This is something that I do now. This is something that I've always done. One thing that we've done is we've been holding, since our candidacy, town, where we call them office hours, right? Where it's not just people coming to our office to talk to us, it's we go out to different communities. We go to Comac, we go to St. James, we go to Kings Park, and hold office hours so people can come and talk to us. That's number one. Number two, I organize the community town hall that they're talking about, the forum. People had questions about development, so we said, hey, why don't we get people under one roof who have the answers? We can ask questions. I don't care what color, you're red, blue, it doesn't really matter. That's number two. Number three, what we can do is have websites that we can expose what we're doing as town officials, as county officials. What is on our agenda? What are we doing? What was the outcome? I also created, in terms of development, people are also asking and very confused about the development. I created a tracker for the Suffolk County, different developments in Suffolk County. There's so much we can do as far as communication, and that's absolutely my strong suit that I do right now.
Thank you. So we'll have our closing statements. You have 2 minutes.
Okay. All right, so you've heard two people speak up here today about what their vision is for Suffolk County and most locally with District 13, which is the town of Smithtown. And although we may have some answers, neither one of us have all the answers. We're at the early stages of this, but it's who you surround yourself with and where you see yourself. You know, for a legislator right now, it's every 2 years you have to run again. They're looking to change that to make it every 4 years. But we are term limited. There's a short period of time to do the work that we see that we want to do for the future of our children. And everything that I do from day one that I arrived in the township that I've lived in for 36 years and raised my 3 children and been married to my wife for 38 years, we've done with the intention of trying to keep my children here and doing whatever we have to do to keep them. I have one child, my oldest, he lives in Kings Park. We helped him buy a house. My other one just bought a house in Comac. What they're spending for homes that need $200,000 worth of work is ridiculous. But I guess it's good news, bad news, right? The good news is the people who are selling the homes may have bought the homes for much less than what I paid, maybe $25,000, and you're leaving here with $800,000. So what you're seeing is the folks who love the community that they live in, you see them trying to find a way to stay in the community that they live in. So I want to help in that. And one of the ways that you can help is you see throughout the island 55 and over communities, opening up. What does that do? That allows these folks who love the community they live in to stay in the community, not have to worry about shoveling snow or mowing lawns or whatever the daily chores are of a house, but they can stay in the community. Now that opens up the homes for these young people, hopefully with the assistance of their parents or any other loved ones that can help them. Because without our children staying here, we're going to have a dying town of Smithtown, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is, my background is law enforcement, and with my background, I want to continue to keep Suffolk County strong and safe.
So it's almost a statement question for me. And my question is for you, what do you want? What do you want for your community? What do you want in a leader? So as Mr. Formica said, we don't have all the answers to everything. But that's okay. What's really important is what I said in my opening, that people really like when you listen to them, when you treat them with respect, and when you get things done on their behalf. Listen to them. I've already demonstrated. It's not an idea, it's not talk, I do it. I've had the town halls, I go out into the community, I've had people come and ask me, I'm not even a legislator or anybody elected yet, and they're already asking me for help. That's number one. Number two, respect. I don't think you'll find anybody from my time on the school board to friends, to family, nobody in the community will say I treat them with any less respect than any other person in the community, whether they agree with my opinions or not. Third, get things done. And this, I think, is the biggest part that differentiates the two of us. I've been getting things done as a candidate. I've been speaking out at the tansy abatement hearings because the constituents asked me to. I've been going to town board meetings speaking on behalf of the community against overdevelopment because the community has asked me to. I went to the Gyrodine Planning Board meeting to speak on behalf of the community because they were looking to extend something that they should not have extended. I've already submitted a very lengthy public comment about Beechwood and their development because the environmental impact study was inadequate. Same thing with Gyrodine. I did a complete study, a complete takedown on why that environmental impact is inadequate. What else have I done? I've organized the forum that we've been talking about. I've been getting out to, I don't even have enough time to tell you all the things that I've done, and that's, I think, the biggest difference for me.
Thank you. I want to remind everyone that this district and all the legislative districts, each one represents 85,000 people. So that's quite a responsibility. Good luck to you both. And we're not completely done because as part of the empty chair policy, you're done. You're okay. But anybody who is here in the room who is a candidate